Every single business runs on data. But what happens when that data is wrong? And I'm not talking about, little typos here and there. I'm talking about tiny, almost invisible errors that can spiral into a total catastrophe. Today, we're going to dig into why your business data might actually be a ticking time bomb. And to kick things off, let's jump into a story from 2011 that shows just how crazy high the stakes really are.
Okay, so picture this. It is the absolute peak of the holiday shopping season, back in 2011. You've got customers flooding into one of the biggest retailers in the country. Their wallets are open. They are ready to buy all the hot-ticket items for the holidays. But when they get inside, they find empty shelves. And I don't mean just one or two things are sold out. We're talking major, widespread shortages all over the store, a total ghost town. Right, so your first thought is probably, okay, there must have been a huge snowstorm, right? Or maybe a shipping strike, some massive, unavoidable disaster. But no, there wasn't. The trucks were still running, the ports were open, the warehouses had people working. So what in the world was going on? Well, the answer is something a lot quieter and honestly, a lot more terrifying.
And this invisible problem, it wasn't just hitting one store. No, it was a symptom of a way bigger issue, like an epidemic spreading through their system. And to really get it, we need to look at patient zero in this whole saga, the retailer right at the center of that 2011 holiday disaster.
So here's what went down. Target had just launched this brand new super sophisticated inventory system, but it had a fatal flaw. The data being pumped into it was just wrong. You had errors in how shipments were being recorded, glitches from moving data from the old system. It all created this sort of fantasy land where the computer thought the shelves were packed. And the planners? Well, they trusted their shiny new system. They looked at the numbers and thought, we're good, so they didn't reorder for the holidays. And the result? An absolute catastrophe. We're talking huge lost sales, seriously angry customers, and a massive hit to their reputation.
What happened to Target is, well, it's a perfect and painful example of a basic rule in the world of data. You can almost think of it like a disease that can infect any business, big or small, and it's got a pretty famous name.
I'm sure you've heard this one before. Garbage in, garbage out. GIGO, for short. It's so simple, but so powerful. It means that it doesn't matter how fancy or expensive your software is. If the information you feed it is junk, you're going to get junk out. A super smart system running on bad data doesn't make super smart decisions. Nope. It makes super smart mistakes, and it makes them way faster and on a much bigger scale than any person ever could.
So what does this garbage data actually look like in the wild? Well, it usually shows up in four main ways. First, you've got inaccurate data. This is just plain wrong. The system is lying to you. Then there's untimely data. This is info that used to be correct, but now it's old and totally irrelevant. Third is incomplete data, where crucial bits of information are just missing. And finally, you get inconsistent data. This is a classic. It's when the same thing is called two different names in two different systems, and everything just gets chaotic. Each one of these is just a different path to the same destination, a distorted view of reality.
Okay, so talking about it in theory is one thing, but to really feel the pain, we need to see how this stuff blows up in the real world. So let's open up the case files and look at 3 classic, painful examples of data disasters in action.
All right, case file number 1, the phantom stock. This is such a classic. It's when your system swears you have inventory that, well, it just isn't there. It's a ghost in the machine.
And you can see how the chain reaction happens so fast. It starts with one tiny error. Somebody in receiving accidentally types 50 when they meant 5. Boom, bad data. Now the system thinks you're loaded with stock. So what's the bad decision? A planner sees those high numbers and cancels a reorder they were about to place. And the business impact? A customer orders that item, you can't ship it, and poof, you just lost a sale, and maybe you lost that customer forever.
And we're not just talking about the cost of that one item. Oh no. When you think about the entire lifetime value of a customer, all the things they would have bought from you, that one little stockout can easily cost you tens of thousands of dollars. It's like this invisible leak, just silently siphoning profits out of your business.
Okay, on to case file number 2. This one is all about stale, outdated data. We'll call it the optimistic lead time. It's basically what happens when your system is living in the past.
So the bad data here is a lead time that's just plain wrong. Let's say your supplier told you months ago that their lead time is now 20 days, not 10, but nobody ever updated the system. So your planner, trusting the system, makes a decision. They promise a big delivery to a really important customer based on that old 10-day timeline. And the impact? It's a killer. The stock shows up 10 days late, your production line grinds to a halt, and you blow a critical deadline. Your reputation takes a serious hit.
And for our last case file, this one might be the most common of all. It's a perfect storm of incomplete and inconsistent data. I call it unit of measure mayhem. The terrifying thing here is how simple the mistake is. The bad data? Your system just says, buy this item. But it doesn't say you buy it in cases of 12. It's missing that one critical detail. So your planner goes to order 100, thinking they're getting 100 individual little things. But the supplier on their end sees an order for 100 cases. And the result? A giant truck shows up at your dock with 1,200 units instead of the 100 you actually needed.
That is 1,100 extra units you never wanted and have no room for. That's a huge pile of cash just sitting there, tied up in dead stock. That's precious warehouse space being eaten up by a mistake. It is a massive, expensive nightmare, all from one tiny, missing piece of information.
Okay, so I think we can all agree the problem is clear, and yeah, it's pretty scary. But here's the good news. You don't have to boil the ocean and fix everything all at once. Just like a doctor in the ER, you can start by checking the patient's vital signs. You focus on the most critical data points first to get things stable. So think of these as your data's 5 vital signs. First, on-hand inventory balance. You gotta know what you actually have. Second, supplier lead time. You have to know when stuff is really going to arrive. Third, demand history, because that's how you predict the future. Fourth, your item master data, the basic DNA of your products, like costs and unit of measure. And finally, your open purchase and sales orders, so you know what's coming in and what's going out. I'm telling you, if you can get these 5 things right, you have already won, like 90% of the battle. But checking vitals is triage, right? It's about stopping the bleeding. For real long-term health, you need more than a Band-Aid. You need a full-on wellness program. And the real cure for bad data, it's not some magic piece of software. It's all about having disciplined processes and building a culture that actually cares about getting it right.
And that culture is built on 5 key pillars. Step 1, assign clear ownership. Someone has to be responsible for the data, period. Step 2, create simple SOPs, standard operating procedures, so everyone does it the same way every time. Step 3, conduct regular audits. You have to check. You have to make sure what's in the system matches what's in the real world. Step 4, and this one is huge, train your staff on the why. Don't just tell them what to do, show them how one little typo can cause a massive headache for someone else. And finally, step 5, fix the root cause. When you find an error, don't just correct it. Dig deep and figure out why it happened so you can stop it from ever happening again.
So let's just wrap it all up with this one thought. Your inventory system, your ERP, all your planning tools, they are the brains of your entire operation. They are making thousands of critical, automated decisions for your business every single day. They decide what to buy, when to buy it, how much to make. But here's the thing. Those brains will only ever be as smart as the information you give them. So the question you really have to ask yourself is this. Are you feeding your system the truth, or are you feeding it garbage?